Hello, I'm Jody from Tales of Cloth, and today I'm going to walk you through making the bridal bouquet block from the Red Sky Night Quilt. Now, one of the most important things to take note of in this block is that it has directional or asymmetrical shapes. Now, what do I mean by that? A symmetrical shape is a shape that, no matter which way you baste it, whether you attach the fabric to this side or this side, it's going to fit in the block fine. Whereas a shape like this, which isn't symmetrical, will fit in the block that way, but not that way. It's a little bit like the shape needs a this way up sign. So to place it in this section, you need the fabric this way up with the shape laying in this direction. But for this one, it needs to be flipped over and basted that way. So I'm going to talk you through how I do that so that you can keep track of the asymmetrical shapes in your bridal bouquet block. So what I do whenever I'm cutting is I have my fabric facing right side up and I put the shape on the fabric, and that way when I baste it, it'll be this direction. So I'm just going to cut an approximate 3/8 of an inch seam allowance around that. Put it aside, and then I'm going to get fabric for this one. Put it on the fabric, right side up. Okay, now I'm going to baste these. And there's my second one. So it's easy to tell when you have basted shapes that you need one facing that way, one facing that way. And if I turn that around and I accidentally basted it the wrong way, they're not the same. And so in our block, putting it back in place, that one's going to go there and that one's going to go there. So each of these other shape sets, you need one facing one way and one facing the other. And the two to pay particular attention to is these, because they actually look like symmetrical kite when they're just lying flat. But you can see that together, they actually create a different angle if you don't have them laid the correct way. So we want one facing one way and one facing the other way, and we're going to cut and baste each of them in pairs so that we can keep track of them easily. Okay, now I've basted all my shapes and I'm ready to sew my block together, and I'm going to start with my semi-star in the center. I've sewn my little diamond trios together, and now I'm going to sew these two to each other to complete the bouquet. Now that I have my partial star sewn up, I'm going to sew these little corner pieces to each other and then add the squares. I like to start at the wider angle It's much harder with this floppy bit here to get the needle in and hold it securely than it is starting at this end and working that way. Now I'm going to add my little squares to these units and also sew the triangles to these squares so that I have all the gaps between the stars sewn up. Now I'm just going to finish off this final section of the bouquet and add these corner shapes to the main stem. I'm going to start at this corner here so that I can go all the way to the point and add this piece without breaking the thread coming back up here. Okay, now that I've constructed all these outer units, I can now easily sew them around the outside of the partial star. I'm going to start here. Okay, time to add this final piece, which I always do by lining up and then flipping over with the seams that I need to line up in place. And having a clover clip helps because they're two heavy pieces and it's hard to keep them all lined up with just my hands. So that carries most of the weight, and then I can sew here. Here's my finished Red Sky at Night block. Bridal Bouquet, which is the second block in the quilt. If you'd like to buy the pattern, go to www.talesofcloth.com and search for Red Sky at Night. Thanks for watching.